98.5 FM. Oluyole, 98.5 FM.
Hear me now. You're dialed to the #1 station. Educative and quality information. Brighten up your day in so many ways. Tune to 98.5
FM. Oluyole, 98.5 FM. Oluyole, 98.5 FM. 98.5 FM.
The time is 6 o'clock on Oluyole, 98.5 FM, Ibadan.
The news.
Good evening. This is Oluyole Oluyole. Reading with me is
Idowu Shekoni. Good evening.
Bringing you Newscope, a daily news program of in-depth reports, interviews, and commentaries. First, the highlights. Senate approves 50 million naira for families of deceased victims of Oriri abductions.
Oyo government demolishes suspected crime shanties at Ojo, Ibadan.
Federal government completes evacuation of Nigerians from South Africa.
And on the foreign scene, Ebola cases rise to 2,000 in DR Congo.
Now, the details. The Senate today approved a 50 million naira donation to the families of 5 Nigerians who lost their lives during the rescue operation that freed school children abducted in Oyo State after 56 days in captivity. The resolution followed a proposal by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, during plenary. Senators unanimously endorsed the donation, with each of the 5 bereaved families to receive 10 million naira. Speaking during the session, Akpabio recalled that the Senate had on Tuesday commended President Bola Tinubu and the nation's security agencies for the successful rescue of the abducted pupils and their teachers. He also praised the Chief of Army Staff, the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, the Inspector General of Police, and the Minister of Defense for their roles in the operation. According to him, although the rescue mission was successful, it came at a significant cost with the loss of security personnel and teachers.
Meanwhile, the Senate has passed a bill establishing the Federal University of Medical Laboratory Science and Technology in Jos, Plateau State, in a move expected to strengthen Nigeria's diagnostic capacity, improve healthcare delivery, and reduce dependence on medical treatment abroad. The bill, which originated in the House of Representatives, received the concurrence of the Senate during plenary after lawmakers unanimously approved it while sitting as the Committee of the Whole, presided over by Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin. According to a copy of the bill obtained today, the proposed university is expected to serve as a specialized institution for training medical laboratory scientists, advancing biomedical research and innovation, and producing skilled manpower to improve disease diagnosis and strengthen Nigeria's health security. Presenting the legislation, Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele urged lawmakers to support the measure alongside 2 other bills, describing them as important interventions in the country's health and education sectors.
The final evacuation flight bringing stranded Nigerians home from South Africa has arrived at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos today. The last batch comprises 315 returnees on board, marking the conclusion of the federal government's evacuation exercise. The successful completion of the final flight brings an end to the airlift operation coordinated by the federal government in collaboration with Air Peace and relevant agencies. Officials are expected to receive the returnees at the airport as they undergo the necessary arrival and documentation procedures before reuniting with their families. Recall that the federal government started the evacuation exercise following the xenophobic attacks on Nigerians living in South Africa.
The federal government today expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the ongoing National Examinations Council school-based senior school certificate examination. It described the computer-based test format as a major milestone in efforts to eliminate examination malpractice and improve the quality of its secondary education across the country. The Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Hamad, stated this after monitoring the examination in school at Abuja. Professor Hamad said the monitoring exercise showed that candidates had embraced the CBT format, with most students describing it as easier to use and more convenient than the traditional paper-based examination. The minister disclosed that interactions with candidates indicated overwhelming support for the CBT format, with only one student expressing equal preference for both the computer-based and paper-based systems.
The Federal High Court in Abuja today ordered the final forfeiture of 48 properties linked to the immediate past Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, who is facing money laundering charges. The court, in a judgment delivered by Justice Joyce Abdulmalik, held that the properties allegedly acquired with proceeds of crime should be permanently seized by the federal government. The court dismissed contentions that some of the affected properties belonged to the larger Malami family in Kebbi State. According to the court, the legal issue was not who owns the property, but how legitimate were the funds used to acquire them. The judgment followed an application filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NIHSA, has issued a flood advisory warning that 14 states may experience a medium flood risk between the 14th of July and the 20th of July. The Director General of NIHSA, Mr. Umar Muhammad, said today that the advisory was based on the agency's latest hydrological forecast, which projected localized flooding along major river channels and identified 16 monitoring stations as high-risk locations. NIHSA said several local government areas and communities, including schools, health facilities and markets, could be affected if precautionary measures were not taken. Mr. Muhammad explained that the annual flood outlook provides flood predictions and analysis of possible flood scenarios across the country during the rainy season. It said the forecast was intended to support disaster preparedness, response planning, and risk reduction by governments and relevant agencies.
The Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, has restated its commitment to providing nationwide housing for its personnel, disclosing plans to replicate ongoing housing projects across the country. This was made known today during the official commissioning of the Nigeria Immigration Service Staff Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited, NIMCO's housing estate at Kutunku Extension, Gwagwalada Area Council. Controller General of Immigration Service, CGIS, Kemi Nandap, who was represented by Deputy Controller General, DCG, in charge of visa and residency, Dr. Franca Umaneka, said the event was a clear demonstration of the service's commitment to the welfare of its personnel. She commended the Executive Committee of NAMCOS for their foresight, dedication and commitment to improving the welfare of members through the initiative, saying that their professionalism, commitment to quality and timely delivery had contributed immensely to the success being celebrated. In his keynote address, the president of NIMCOS, Dr. Saliu Barau Dauda, said the occasion was not merely the commissioning of buildings, but the celebration of a vision fulfilled and another landmark achievement in pursuit of improving the welfare and quality of life of members of the cooperative society.
Away from that, the Oluyole state government has demolished wooden and metal shanties at Ojo in Akinyele local government area, following allegations that some of the structures were being used by hoodlums to store dangerous weapons and perpetrate criminal activities. Demolition followed a directive by the Oluyole state government representative in a meeting held with stakeholders after the recent violent clash in the area. Demolition exercise followed the directive issued by the Oluyole state government after a violent clash on the 7th and 8th of July at Ojo in Akinyele local government area, which claimed 2 lives and raised fresh concerns over security in the area. During an assessment visit by the State Deputy Governor, Barrister Oluyole, the need for the removal of the wooden and metal shanties in the area was raised with the allegation that some of the structures were being used by criminal elements to harbor dangerous weapons and other illicit items. In compliance with the directive, a joint security team supervised the demolition exercise. The chairman of Akinyele local government, Mr. Akinleye, said the exercise was aimed at restoring security and preventing a recurrence of the violence recently witnessed in the area.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The Oyo State Police Command has recorded another major breakthrough in its fight against economic sabotage with the arrest of 3 suspected members of a railway vandalism syndicate and the recovery of stolen rail tracks valued at about 200 million naira. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi was at the Oluyole Ibadan headquarters of the Oyo State Police Command to bring the details.
Addressing the press on behalf of the Oyo State Commissioner of Police, CP Abimbola Olubenga, the Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Ayolade Olayinka, said the operation followed a timely tip-off from a vigilant member of the public. According to the command, operatives of the monitoring unit acted swiftly on the intelligence and intercepted the suspects at Gambari, Orile area of Oyo State on Tuesday, July 14, before the vandalized railway materials could be moved to their final destination. He stated the suspects, identified as Wahid Ayinde, Mohammed Sani and Azan Ibrahim, were arrested alongside a Owo truck allegedly used to transport the stolen rail tracks. DSP Olayinka stressed that police investigations revealed that the railway tracks were illegally removed from Niger State and transported into Oyo State, with Lagos believed to be the intended destination. The command PRO said the suspects played different roles in the syndicate, including conveying the stolen materials, coordinating the operation, and providing temporary storage in Ogbomoso.
Getting to the location, we were able to arrest these 3 suspects: the driver, the motorboy that followed the stolen item from Niger State to Ogbomoso, and as well as the receiver at the Ogbomoso. All of them have confessed to their involvement in the crime and how the said rail track were vandalized and brought down to Oyo State. Of course, it was destined for Lagos State, where it will be converted to different items and used, where it will be sold to companies. The investigation is still ongoing to arrest the mastermind and the rest of the syndicates. And upon the completion of the investigation, the suspects will be arraigned before the court of law.
The Commissioner of Police said the suspects have made useful confessional statements, while efforts are ongoing to arrest other members of the syndicate and recover additional exhibits linked to the crime. He commended the member of the public whose information led to the successful operation, describing it as another testament to the effectiveness of intelligence-led policing and community partnership. Adebayo Abdurrafi, BCOS News.
29-year-old Boluwatife Babalola has so far received about £500,000 naira in support of the estimated 45 million naira required for a kidney transplant. However, the donations received have largely been expended on her frequent dialysis sessions and other medical needs as she continues to battle for survival while awaiting the life-saving procedure. Adiola Oladili reports.
Boluwatife Babalola walked into the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, BCOS, about a month ago, seeking not employment or an opportunity, but a chance at survival. Her life took an unexpected turn shortly after completing her studies in 2024, when she was diagnosed with a severe kidney-related illness. Since then, she has been battling the condition, relying on regular dialysis sessions and blood transfusions to stay alive, while hoping for a permanent solution.
I'm 29 years old and I graduated from Dominion University. So it happened like 2024 October, the week to my convocation. I was supposed to go for my convocation that week. I just noticed that my stomach was heavy, as in it looked swollen, but I didn't even count it as anything. So people said it is blood, so they took me to the hospital. So when I got there, they said They gave me 2 pounds of blood, was still the same thing. So they referred me to UCH. So when I got to emergency at UCH, after like 2 days, they diagnosed me of kidney failure.
According to her, medical experts have recommended an urgent kidney transplant as the only viable option to save a life. However, the procedure and other associated medical expenses are estimated at about 45 million naira, a sum far beyond the reach of a family. Our appeal has attracted support from kind-hearted Nigerians with donations amounting to about 500,000 naira so far. However, much of the money has been used to offset the cost of her frequent dialysis sessions and other medical expenses, leaving her still in urgent need of financial assistance.
You say that as soon as possible because of the dialysis is too much. So I should try to get the transplant done as quick as possible. I want people to help me because even all my family, because it's not easy for them. As all of them, they don't know what to do again. Even every day, mommy used to cry. Every day, she cried every day because she said I'm too young for all this. So we don't even know where we want to get the money. I just want people to help me. It's God help I need now. I need people's help. It's people help and God help. That's all my only hope now. There's no other hope for me.
While expressing appreciation for the support received, Boluwatife says she still requires funds to sustain her dialysis treatment pending the transplant surgery. She therefore continues to appeal to well-meaning Nigerians, corporate organizations, philanthropists, and charitable groups to come to her aid, as the amount raised remains far below what is needed to save a life. Individuals willing to support a kidney transplant and ongoing medical care can contact the News and Current Affairs Department of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, BCOS, or make their donations through the account details displayed on the screen. For Boluwatife, every contribution not only offers hope for the life-saving surgery, but also helps sustain the treatment, keeping her alive while she awaits a second chance at life. Adeola Oladele, BCOS News.
On the foreign scene, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is facing a worsening Ebola crisis as confirmed cases have surpassed 2,000, with more than 750 deaths recorded, while healthcare workers at the center of the outbreak have embarked on a strike over unpaid wages and poor working conditions, raising concerns about efforts to contain the deadly disease. Foreign Desk Editor Folashade Akintola compiled the story and others as presented by Bimbo Akombi.
Has begun a strike at Bunia General Hospital in the northeastern Ituri province on Wednesday, obstructing the entrance to the hospital. They said they have not received any compensation for their work since the outbreak began, despite working under extremely difficult conditions. The protest in Bunia comes after other strikes in the region, which is the epicenter of the outbreak. Dozens of healthcare workers, including epidemiologists and grave diggers at the Rampara General Hospital, walked off their jobs on Monday, claiming they hadn't been paid for months. Medical charity Doctors Without Borders Médecins Sans Frontières, or MSF, says this current outbreak is the third largest and fastest growing Ebola outbreak on record.
The team set out their various demands and issued a 48-hour ultimatum, asking that their situation be resolved. If not, a full-scale strike will be called.
In the meantime, several people have been killed in Russian attacks on port infrastructure in Odessa and Mykolaiv, and Ukraine said it launched drone strikes on 20 Russian vessels as the warring sides escalated their battle over the Black Sea and key trade routes. Odessa Region Governor Ole Kipa said on Wednesday that a massive Russian drone and missile attack on the southern region continued for a fifth day, with civilian, industrial and port infrastructure coming under attack. At least 3 people were killed and 3 others wounded in the Russian strikes in Odessa. The city's military administrator, Serhiy Lysak, said on Wednesday. Russia's Ministry of Defense confirmed the strikes on the Odessa and Chernomorsk ports, saying Russian forces targeted infrastructure, facilities that it claims are used to store fuel and assemble drones. Russia in recent days has stepped up attacks on Ukraine's Black Sea ports in the greater Odessa area, which handle much of the country's grain and other cargo and are vital to its wartime economy. Meanwhile, Ukraine has escalated its campaign to disrupt logistics for Russia's forces in areas Moscow occupies in southern Ukraine and to isolate Crimea, which Russia has occupied since 2014. And lastly, Iran has threatened to block further trading routes in the region as the US launched a fresh wave of strikes on military targets. Iran's Revolutionary Guards said the Strait of Hormuz will remain shut until the US ends its acts of aggression and said other regional oil and gas export channels could also be closed. The warning came as the US military Central Command, CENTCOM, said it had carried out drone, air and navy strikes on Iran on Wednesday morning in addition to a 7-hour operation overnight. United States President Donald Trump vowed to strike Iran's bridges and power plants next week if the country does not return to talks. Bimbo Akambi, BCUS News.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the top stories. The Senate today approved a 50 million naira donation to the families of 5 Nigerians who lost their lives during the rescue operation that freed school children abducted in Oluyole State after 56 days in captivity.
The Oyo State Police Command has recorded another major breakthrough in its fight against economic sabotage with the arrest of 3 suspected members of a railway vandalism syndicate and the recovery of stolen rail tracks valued at about 200 million naira.
The final evacuation flight bringing stranded Nigerians from South Africa has arrived at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos.
On the foreign scene, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is facing a worsening Ebola crisis as confirmed cases have surpassed 2,000 with more than 750 deaths recorded, while healthcare workers at the center of the outbreak have embarked on a strike over unpaid wages and poor working conditions, raising concerns about efforts to contain the deadly disease.
If you see something suspicious, alert the authorities immediately for timely response. Be vigilant. That's all from the Newscope desk for now. It was packaged by Helen Fagbimi and delivered by
Oluyole
and Idowu Shekoni. Thanks for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening.
Oluyole FM 98.5.
Attention please, your safety matters. At home, lock your doors and windows. Know who is at your gate before you open. Do not share personal information with strangers online or even on the streets. Avoid isolated routes, especially at night. Board vehicles at designated parks. Tell someone where you are going. If you see something suspicious, say something. Report to the nearest police station or call the emergency helpline of your state, 615. Do not take the law into your hands. Stay alert, stay safe, and stay secured at all times. Oluyole FM says, a safer Oyo State begins with all of us.
Rédíò ti pọ̀ níbo ni wọ́n yìí sí bá. Olúyọ̀lé FM ní gbogbo ìlú ń gbọ́ orí àwọn eléré wọn náà ni wọ́n ń bọ̀.
Ọmọdé ìlú o, àgbààgbà ìlú o, Olúyọ̀lé ni ẹ máa gbọ́. Bó jẹ́ torin, àwa la lórin, bó jẹ́ tìròyìn elétí ọ̀fẹ́ òtẹ́tí, àwa la mọ ohun tí ẹ̀ ń fẹ́. Ètò àtàtà lóríṣiríṣi àwa la lè dé, lẹ́kùpẹ́gbà ológbòdò bàbá ni. 98.5 o, ó lànà lọ́yẹ̀fẹ́ o, òun ṣàní ẹ máa gbọ́.
Ẹ ṣeun, igi pọ̀ ní gbọ́ká tó figi ọmọ gbẹ̀gbẹ̀ dùn. Ìròyìn àsìkò tó kúrẹ́rẹ́, eré ìdárayá, kálá nílò ẹ̀ lásìkò ọ̀rọ̀ òṣèlú orin àgbọ̀dúnú. Ètò lóríṣiríṣi Olúyọ̀lé.